All right, we're gonna start on our knees. We're gonna start with some rocking. So you can go into kind of a child's pose, but we're just gonna, I want you to think about keeping the belly in a little bit and then just rocking back and forth. We'll do about 10 rocks. I'm inhaling as I come back and then exhaling as I come forward. And then let's go ahead and take the right leg out to the side. We'll go into our Abductor Rocks. So we're just going to do 5 rocks, pushing back, inhaling into tension, then exhaling out of tension. One more. And then go ahead and come to a neutral position, and we're just going to come into our cat camel, just nice, slow, little positions with the pelvis. So push your sit bones apart and then tuck your sit bones back in. Let's do a couple of these. And then we'll bring that leg in and push out the left leg back into our Abductor Rocks. Should feel pretty nice in that groin area. And then come back to center, and then we'll do our cat camel, pushing the sit bones apart. And then bring the knees back in, and we're going to go ahead and take this into our frog stretch. Point the knees and toes out. You can come down to the elbows if you want, or just stay on the hands. And we're just going to rock, do some rocking back and forth. We'll stay here for about 30 seconds. You're more than welcome to come up on the hands if you need to. Adjust the tension that you need. Hopefully you've been making space with this movement. We have 15 seconds left. All right, and then go ahead and roll onto your belly to get off out of this position. You can just roll those hips and knees around if you need to. And then let's go ahead and sit up. We're going to go ahead and sit on our tush. We're going to go into, let's go into a wide straddle position. You're more than welcome, if you have kettlebells, to put the kettlebells on the inside of your legs. That kind of helps kind of keep them in place. It is slightly helpful, so if you guys want to grab some kettlebells, you can. Mine are like 50 pounds, so I'm just going to leave them there. But yeah, you want the kettlebells just like on here, and then you can kind of scoot, just so it kind of keeps your legs apart. And if you're having trouble sitting upright, if you feel like you're kind of slouching, then put like a pillow or something underneath your butt so you're a little bit more upright. We're going to lift up the left arm. We're going to take that right elbow and try to pull the elbow down and lifting as much as we can. And I just want you to take your time. We're just going to be breathing into this. I'm going to inhale and then exhale, try to pull myself down even further. And if you want, you can start going back and forth with this. Just really just trying to pull that elbow down. Just kind of breathe into it, find a rhythm. If that's difficult for you, you can also bring one leg in and use your other arm to kind of pull that down if you need to pull that leg down. But Let's just try to go back and forth. Just breathing into it. This is a really nice stretch for the hips, the lower back. Do just a couple more on each side. Really try to lift that arm up. Good. And then go ahead and bring your knees in. You can just kind of scoop them up, help yourself out. Taking the hands back, lifting the chest up, and we're just going to take those knees in and out. Hopefully your kettlebells are not too much in your way. Good. Do one more on each side. And then go ahead and take your left leg on top of your right leg, and we're just going to work on pushing that right knee down and then just kind of rocking over. If you feel more comfortable laying down on your back doing this, you can, but try to push the right knee down first and then rock over. It's going to feel a little bit different in the glute and the hip flexor. Then we'll go to the other side, same thing. Try to push that down and then rocking over. Do two more. Good. And then let's come up onto our knees. We're going to get into some half kneeling positions. If you guys have a yoga block, what you can also do to get a little bit more stretch is place the yoga block underneath your front foot. So now you're a little bit deeper into your stretch. So we'll try that. So if you guys have, I know that most of you have a yoga block, hopefully. Yeah, Davida, you can use that as well. Hopefully it doesn't roll around on you. All right, we're gonna go into a quad stretch with an overhead. So I've got my foot on my block. I'm gonna pull in, I'm gonna pull my pelvis in and lean forward and really reach with that arm. And then coming back. So we're gonna do about 6 of these. You should feel a strong pull from the oblique. And then go ahead and take your foot off of the block and keep your block with you. This is for your hands. Extend your back leg back just a little bit more. And what I want you to do with your right hand is try to bring your elbow down to the block. And if you're getting your elbow to the block, maybe take the block down one more to see if you can bring that elbow down just a little bit further to that block. So we're really just trying to reach. Go ahead and widen out your right leg just a little bit more. Try to bring that elbow down to that block. Try not to reach too much with the right shoulder. We want the shoulders to kind of stay even and just pushing down. And then come back up. Go ahead and keep your block where it's at. We're going to take this into our hamstring stretches. So we're going to lift the ball of that right foot up and just extend. And then pushing forward again. we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to take that block on our left foot, and then going forward, and then reaching over with that arm, and then just coming back. Davida, you got a good challenge there with that foam roller. Really reach the arm, feel like someone's pulling your arm up to the ceiling as much as you can. Extend through the elbow. Let's do one more. You're good. And then take the foot off, take your block in between or right by the foot of your arch, the arch of your foot, I'm sorry. And see if we can pull that elbow down. Spread out your leg if you need to. If you're touching the block with your elbow, then go ahead and take the block down. See if you can take that elbow down just a little bit further. And then pull your block up, hands on the block, and then into your hamstrings. So pulling the toe up and then extending the leg. And then let's go ahead and come down to the knee. Back into child's pose, we're going to work on the ribs a little bit. So we've done this one a few times. We're going to walk our hands over to the right. We're going to drop our right elbow down by our right knee and really reach with our arm. If you wanted to, take your block and place your hand on it, and then really just try to pull the armpit and the ribs down to the floor. Having your hand elevated is just going to give you a little bit more emphasis on the stretch or the pull. And I like to keep my palm open, facing towards the ceiling. Really just trying to pull that down. You might feel this through your tricep, you might feel it in the bottom of the armpit, the bottom of the rib cage. And then we'll take it to the other side, same thing. Hand on the block. Keep the palm open. And then come on up. Go ahead and just give yourself some rounding in the back. See how that feels a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and stand up. I'm gonna move my mat out of the way because this thing is like super, super slippery. Okay. All right, we're starting to loosen up just a little bit. We're gonna take our our left leg behind our right leg, and then extending through the arm and pushing the hip that way. Good. So Kent, I think you're good, yeah. Just trying to push that hip over, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Pushing as much as you can. Good, and then relax. Let's go ahead and take our right foot forward. We're gonna come down to the floor. I want your foot to be in the middle of like your midline, so your belly button. I'm gonna go this way so you can see. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna push the knee outward. So kind of in a pigeon position. Use your blocks if you need to elevate your hands, if you're not able to come down that far. Drop your back knee, and then we're just going to work into some circles into this position. So I've got my foot pretty much in my midline. Feel free to take your hands to the opposite direction, pushing the knee outward. You can use your hand to kind of facilitate that a little bit, and you're going to feel probably a stretch through your glute or hip flexor. Play around. You can take the chest down to the floor. And then let's go ahead and stand up. And we'll just do about 3 squats to see what the difference feels in your right hip rather than your left hip. So just 3 squats. Just slow and controlled. Good. And then we're going to do the same thing on our left leg. So come down into your lunge. Make sure your foot is in your midline. You can drop that back knee. And then go ahead and just push that knee out. You can do some circles. You can turn your torso away from your leg and push your leg out. Work on some circles here. Pull your chest down to the floor if you can. And then let's come back up. We'll do 3 squats and see if we made any room in those hips a little bit. All right, just 3 squats. Should feel a little bit looser. Good. Nice. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and come down since we're already there. So we'll come down to this position, just driving the knees out. Go ahead and lean over and just push the legs out as you can with the forearms. If you want to lean back and forth, you can. You should feel a pretty intense pulling in the groin. And then just go ahead and walk your hands out since you're already there and into a downward facing dog. So we'll push into a downward facing dog. Let me get my hands on something. This floor is real slippery. And let's go ahead and bring that left leg up to a pigeon. You might have a little bit more space doing a pigeon after those 2 other hip openers. Feel free to use your block underneath your tush. Hips are straight. And then coming down, try to walk your hands forward if you can. I'm just going to walk back just a little bit here. So I've just got my hip bone supported by my block. I'm just trying to keep my hips as square as I can, and I'm going to try to walk my hands forward as much as I can. And that should feel like a pretty deep stretch through your butt cheek. Go ahead and walk your hands over. So Charles and Kent, I know Davida, this one's a tough one for you. Davida, you can stay seated like that if you want, just kind of like on your butt and have one of your legs pulled towards you. But Kent and Charles, if you're in this position, what I want you to try to do is take your left elbow down to parallel with your shin bone. Go ahead and extend the back leg, push up into your downward facing dog. And then let's go to the other side, same thing, pigeon. Your hip is supported by your block. You can also place the block more like underneath your groin if that helps at all. And then we're just going to try to reach those arms out in front of us. And if you can, try to bring that elbow down and just kind of lift your chest up a little bit. Good. Go ahead and extend that back leg. We'll push in the downward facing dog. Draw the heels down. And then come back into child's pose. Go ahead and sit into child's pose. Okay, so we're going to try something, see if this, because Davida has a hard time getting to pigeon, so we're going to try something a little bit different. So if you're able to keep one leg extended in front of you, so I've got my left leg extended and my right leg back here. I'm going to kind of turn over towards this leg. I'll go to about 45-degree angle. So this leg is out. I'm going to take my left arm back, and then I'm going to try to pull myself back and then squeezing this butt cheek to push this hip forward. And then coming back. So we'll just do a couple rotations like that. So ideally both hands are on the floor, and then you're just kind of pulling and pushing a little bit. Do one more, and we'll go to the other side. And I'll show you what this is going to mimic here in a second. So I'm going to pull both my hands to the floor. My right hand is facing towards the wall. I'm trying to pull back. Do one more. Okay, so what this is going to mimic is we're going to try a pretzel. This will be like the last thing that we do this morning for this. You're going to need a pillow or a foam roller, or both actually. You're going to need a pillow, foam roller. So just make sure you have them. You can use blocks if you have those as well. So my top leg is stacked, so I want to keep the hips stacked. My back leg is drawn back. What I want to do is I want to reach for my back leg. So I've got my right hand reaching towards my left leg. I got my palm facing up, and then reaching back towards that leg. And then what I'm going to do is just inhale through my belly, exhale, try to pull my shoulder down. And you just hold this for about 5 breaths. Good. Going to release that leg, release your ribs a little bit, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. You should feel a stretch through your quad, through that bottom leg. So that first one I showed you, it was just a regression into this one, which is called a pretzel. So back leg, I'm going to reach for that back foot, pull that leg back, and then I'm going to try to pull this shoulder down. Do 2 more breaths. And then relax out of that. Go ahead and lay on your back. Go ahead and place a block between your legs or a pillow, whatever you have. Arms are out in a T. And we're going to inhale over to our left. And then back and forth. We'll just do a couple on each side. One more each side. Good. And then go ahead and release your block. Just go ahead and extend those legs out, those arms overhead. Give yourself a nice long stretch. And then you are done. Good job, guys. Hope you feel